Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS. Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome Well, it's Sunday, which can only mean one thing. It's Super Sunday here on Apex Racing TV. But what makes tonight even more super, even more special this Sunday is it's week 13. So not the usual weekend warriors, but the vRunoffs kicking things off with the SRFs, and then coming up in around about 40 minutes time, we've got Multiclass in the form of Formula V and Formula Ford. It's going to be absolutely epic. I am Tim Cox, Josh Wilkie in the Virtual Protection trailer, and Charles Bushell. Well, can't keep this man away from this series, that's for sure. And I'll tell you what, Charles, we're kicking things off with, but the SRS have been epic all season. I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to that multi-class aspect later on.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic as well. I'm looking forward to it also, Tim. It's, you know, I'm not sure because I've never really seen those cars running together, so I don't know what the speed differences are going to be, what the timing differences are going to be. The handling, I think, are going to be pretty similar. Just maybe top end that may be the difference, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Then when you throw in the fact that the Formula Vs won't have to stop for fuel, the Formula Fords will, that may throw in a whole different monkey wrench into that. So, but we still got a great race here. Spec Racers at Oldham Park, the full circuit. Just you know, I'm sorry. It's just a fantastic track, and this is not Oldham Park office. This is Brands Hatch because I'm just that's Americans. But I do. This is my favorite of the British tracks. I prefer Brands over any of the rest of them. Oldham a close second, but Brands is just such a great track. Very flowing. Got some good mixes of some tight areas as well as high speed sections, with some high-speed cornering that these guys are going to have to navigate, and it's going to be a great race.
Well, the late, great Murray Walker said himself, Charles, why the authorities spend millions of pounds trying to turn Silverstone into a great circuit when we already have one in Brands Hatch is a mystery to me. And, well, if that man said it, then I think that's a true vindication and justification just how great this place is. Our qualifying well underway right now. We've got 4 minutes left in that. Shorter qualifying tonight, only 15 minutes as opposed to the usual 20. Felix Samaus just heading up onto pole very, very recently. We were looking at a Masters lockout in the form of Antonio Racing York Marnie, but Marnie's moved down to the second row with the FFS and Bobby West, no less, who's come alive. We spoke to him only a week ago, and well, he's not too sure where he's got all this ball from, but all of a sudden clicked with this car. Being shown tonight on board with Yangshi Lin, who well had a stellar season when he showed up. If he hadn't showed up for the entirety, where would he have finished? And this guy, bit of a specialist when it comes to run-offs, isn't he? You know, the SCCA run-offs, of course, went all 3 races in that on iRacing in the official series.
Yeah, Yangshi obviously is when it comes to runoffs, he's one of the top guys, and he's really one of the top guys when it comes to the spec race. He does just a great job week in and week out. And you're right, yeah, if he shows up for all the races, he's probably looking at the championship or very close to it. It was a great battle with him and Marco Pinero this season. It's really the first time we've seen a battle with Pinero. During the last 3 or 4 seasons that I can recall. It's just been the Marco Pinero Invitational. And so Yangshi actually kept him honest this season, and it was a great season to watch. And, you know, make all the races, you never can tell.
But although we've lost that Masters lockout off the front row, we do have a Portuguese lockout in the form of Felix Samaus and Antonio Race, locking that one out at the moment. We've still got minutes left, and still a chance for drivers to improve as well. Christian Kabanka, our reigning champion of Spec 1 from Formula Ford, currently lies 7th overall. That's a strong performance from him, and hasn't necessarily done as well in the SRS, certainly compared to the Formula Fords, where he's looked ever so dominant. Struggling drivers out there right now. Gary Warbolt and Rick Wishen have had all their lap times deleted so far due to off-track excursions from them. Having a bit of a look through the field, though, not really anyone too far out of place at the moment. Spec 2, that's, well, it's just Alan McCain, but of course he's been promoted to Spec 1, so it's Alan Johnson who's the highest qualifier there. He's 14th overall right now. Grant Yingling, great to have him back. Haven't seen that name in a long time. Currently second in class, and well, he's going to start one row behind, but only one place behind his, well, potential Spec 2 rival, shall we say, for the Vrunoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I know Grant quite a bit because obviously he races for Olympus Esports as my team. So he has been itching to get back in and driving these cars again. So I'm glad to see him here in the runoffs. And he might be a name to watch in Spec 2 next season. I think he's going to try and run the full season, so it's going to be great to see him.
I've got 40 seconds left on the clock. Drivers getting over the line, so they're going to get another lap in here at Brands Hatch. That's one of them. Jason Green, maybe, well, I would say out of place, but the list of names in front of him: Samals, Race, Marnie, West, Lynn, Overstreet, Kabanka, and Dantas. Stacked as ever at the sharp end of the grid race. Marnie, West, Overstreet all done with qualifying. So is Perry. He's locked into, well, 13th at the moment, but could potentially lose that. There is Samals, who's fastest by only a meager 300ths of a second. How tight it is in the race for pole, although I think realistically Lynn probably the only driver who could potentially challenge him. Well, Samals will not go faster as that off track. That's at least his time. That's him done and dusted. And well, Lynn done as well, because he's across the line after the checkered flags come out, so he will not improve further. He's going to start from 5th, it looks like, and well, Overstreet in front of him on the track at the moment, but in terms of where they're going to start, will be behind, and just getting a bit of racecraft practice in these early stages. I mean, this is going to be wild on the first lap, Charles. You know, that run down towards turn 1, it's always a little bit of a treacherous corner here at Brands Hatch. Is old at Paddock Hill Bend, and then Druids, the tight right-hand hairpin, normally kicks off a little bit, and then certainly through Graham Hill Bend.
Yeah, absolutely. Turn 1 is, especially on the start of the race with cold tires, you have to be very careful. You can go too wide through there, but you, once again, you know, even you know, in the mid part of the race when your tires are hot and you're on low fuel, turn 1 is just so tricky because it's, you know, it almost feels like it's anti-cambered. You're going downhill, making a right-hand corner. And so it's just a matter of getting that racing line right. Luckily, I think we've got a 30-minute race today, so no pit stops, which will be another factor with that pit exit right on the inside of that turn 1's apex. So hopefully we won't be seeing any of that. But yeah, this is what we come to expect. We've got, you know, the top, you know, 17 cars now within a second of pole. So, you know, it's going to be some very tight racing up front. And as we always see, we'll go too wide through 1 probably, and then we'll see if we make it 3 or 4 wide going into Druids.
There's Phil Berry, and I mean, where he is at the moment, Charles, in 25th. It's only a second half between himself and pole.
Yeah.
You know, you say about a second gap, only a second half. I mean, it's so tight. 300ths of Brad Cathcart, his countryman in front of him on the grid. Only 600ths. Pretty much identical times from Bradshaw and Favini. So just over half a temp separating 4 drivers in the midfield.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I don't expect anything different when we get ready to do these races. So.
No. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. As we transition now across into the race session, let's take you through your grid. The first of the 2 races the evening from Brands Hatch. Felix Samals on pole with his fellow countryman Antonio Race on the front row with him. And Race top qualifier in Masters. Then it's another Masters and Spec 1 row in the form of Jorg Marnie, and good to see him getting a full pace lap in. So just calm things down a little bit here. No rush. I was a little bit worried he might be starting on that run before the final quarter. So yes, Marnie and West show row 2. Then it's our first all Spec 1 row in the form of Lynn and Overstreet on row 3. Row 4 is Kabanka and Dantas, with Green and Murakami rounding out your top 10, and row 5. Row 6 sees Jim Brewster. Good qualifying from him. And next to Alan McCain, with row 7 being Simon Mayer and Jason Perry. Alan Johnson has qualified in Spec 2. That's next to, well, your favourite for the race, Charles, in Spec 2, Grant Yingling. No bias there whatsoever. Arcelorio has Andrew Love for company on row 9, with row 10 in your top 20 being Chris Montgomery and Bradford Gould. Row 11, Jeff Jacobson and Anne Bradshaw, while row 12 sees Andrea Favini next to Brad Cathcart. Row 13, unlucky for some, let's hope not for Phil Berry and series organiser Stevie Ray. Charlie Vaccaro is next to the Brit Paul Jackson, who'll be hoping for a good run here at his home circuit. With row 15, your top 30 being Jeff Cantor and Martin Nicklaus. Gary Walbot and Jeff Horniak make up row 16, with row 17. Rick Wishen, a newcomer this season, and really done some great things in Spec 2, next to Stephen Healy. Joshua Wilkie, who joined the session completely. Let's move on from that one. Next to Alan Tagasius, who did not have time. Actually, in fact, neither did Wishen and Healy in front of him. Flores and Nick Tullo did not set times either, and I do not think we're having Healy, Tagasius, Flores and Tullo start the race. So only the 33 cars, Charles, to try and manage and keep an eye on around here, which is, well, big for any other series, but maybe a little bit on the smaller side for us, but makes things a lot easier for us, that's for certain.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a small grid for SRFs, but you know, with the very quick doubleheader, maybe some of those drivers who we normally see in here decided they would just go and drive the Formula Fords today.
You know, when you were describing earlier what we're going to have later on in the Vs and the Formula 4s in race 2, I can feel the hairs on my arms at the back of my neck just stand up on end. It's that tingling sensation. That is one not to be missed. I mean, multi-class, one class has to stop, the other one doesn't. What is going to happen at 40-minute race? That's going to be fascinating. Make sure you stick around for that. Meanwhile, only the half an hour tonight for the SRS rather than the usual 40 minutes. No pit stops, as you said, Charles. Makes things maybe a little bit easier, potentially, a little bit less to guess, but equal terms. You've got to get your fuel right from the start.
You absolutely do, yeah. We've seen these cars go 31 minutes, 32 minutes during the race, especially if we've got some drivers that are good at fuel saving. So for those guys that are, or those drivers that are, you know, as far as they can go from start to finish, York Monty, I'm talking about you. So it's, you know, those may struggle a little bit. You know, drivers that maybe do a lot of fuel saving, like a Jason Green, may be a little bit easier, take a little less fuel from start.
Well, that's an interesting point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does he fuel save like he normally does and works and puts less fuel in? Or does he just fill it up and go hell for leather? I don't know. There's so many fascinating points that we're going to have tonight.
It really is. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race to watch. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be fantastic. We always get a good race with the spec racers, and I don't think there'll be anything different, especially with a lot of newcomers out here.
Well, exactly. Well, Porsche 911 safety car is in, and let's get ready to go racing in the Ray Esports Weekend Warriors vRunoffs in week 13, as we are green and we are away for the first time this evening, and already we're 3 wide down into turn 1. Well, they're 3 by 2. Are they gonna make it through? Yes, they are. So Mouse leads the pack up towards Druids, and there's contact with his countryman racer. Well, there's cars around. That's going to affect things. Lynn has lost his bonnet. Bobby West has gone through into the lead. Races around. He's out. Oh, wow. Wow, yeah. Big moment already.
Yeah, wow to start the race. I was thinking the wreck would have been in turn 1 with them trying to go 3 wide. They made it through there, but then on the entry into Druids, turn 2, yeah, we saw that contact, and it collected some other cars that just happened to be in the neighborhood. So you know, tough luck for those guys, and we'll get a look at who all are going to be in the back of the pack trying to race their way back forward again.
Well, Lynn had lost his bonnet, but due to the beauty of netcode, it giveth, it taketh. Well, he's giving it back here in the form of his front end to Lynn today. West leads from Lynn, Overstreet, Dantas, Marnie, Samals is dropping further places. He's in even more trouble after starting from pole. Well, a big change around up front. Dantas up 4 places to join this group of top 4. Brewster at 5. Alan Johnson to lead on Spec 2 up 6 places. Favini up 10 already as Samals continues to tumble.
Yeah, I'm going to say Samals may have some suspension damage, and he's just going to have to just get into the pits. Don't know. Do they have a test repair?
Well, hold on a second. Lynn gonna go for the move right round the outside on Bobby West, and he's gonna get it done at turn 1. Hello, that was a little bit special, and here comes Overstreet looking to inflict more pain, but West on the inside. He's gonna hold that inside line, but Lynn gets the run. That's gonna give him the inside line into Graham Hill Bend, and well, he doesn't even need it. He's ahead, but for how much longer, Charles? That's what you're gonna ask yourself.
Yeah, that was a great move on the outside of turn 1. It's just very treacherous out there. But obviously, Yangshi has just got master of car control with this car. Made it stick, managed to hang on through 2 to get the inside advantage into turn 3. And so out into the lead. And we'll see if West or Overstreet can fight back.
Wow. Marnie has lost a chunk of time. He's 1.2 seconds behind this lead group. He's got Brewster, Green, Kabanka, Johnson, Murakami, and McCain for company in that group. Right now, your podiums in Masters is Marnie, Brewster, and Murakami. Spec 2, Johnson, Laturo. And then Chris Montgomery, who's, well done. Laturo in 12th, Montgomery 18th. So a big gap, but they are all grouped together. That's the crucial point, because Arthur Latorio leads that group. Like Lorero, apologies, I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Apologies about that one, Arthur.
Yeah. That pack is still tied together basically from P11 on down to P19. And I will say, I am checking the timing and scoring it. Jackson and Samals both pitted, and it looks like they both took fast repairs. So they're back out on track, and now just got time to make up.
Race didn't pit, though. That's an interesting one. A lot of work to do. It's going to be a long old race. Oh, that was a bit of a moment there. Simon Mayer.
Yeah, Simon Mayer. Good. I think the off-track physics helped him out a little bit there. Was able to catch that slide over in the grass and keep the car running in the right direction. Lost some time, maybe a couple spots, but he's still able to race.
It is crucially, and he's got a race on right now against Ray. He's on the outside. Can Ray make it stick? No, he just chickens out of that one a little bit. Well, Mayer out to the grass, practically drifting there to try and ensure he keeps the position through Hawthorne Bend, and he does so. Like, he's just compromised Ray a little bit. He's backed back up into your man Grant Yidling. How much longer though?
Yeah, I was kind of watching that. Grant and Bradshaw have been battling for the last couple of laps, and they're still stuck together on track, half-second gap. And now they've got Stevie Ray for company, and Simon Mayer has dropped back to him a little bit. There's another big pack of cars that we see
Charles,
with the SRS.
I'm going to cut you off quickly because West, I just saw him dart to the inside, and yes, he is through for the lead, but they're going to be side up the hill while they're nearly 3 wide almost. Lynn on the inside, but we've seen before, holding that outside line through Druids can help you out because it gives you the inside into Graham Hill Bend here. And now Lynn under a lot of pressure from Overstreet trying to get a car to the inside, which is exactly where Bobby West heads. He says to Yang Lin, no, you're not coming underneath me. You're not going to get to the apex before I do. I managed to defend it, but it's going to compromise him off the corner because here comes Lin on the attack. Chuking left, chuking right, pulls left out of the slipstream as we head down through Pilgrim's Drop. Can he make it stick around the outside? Yeah, again, he's going to go for it. And yes, he does.
Yeah, that's just amazing. This is a master class of making moves on the outside by Lin. Yeah, Overstreet stuck her nose in a little bit out of turn 3 just to see if she could get a run on the inside. Didn't quite work for her, but she's still in P3 overall as we see just how hard Lynn's pushing that car sideways through the corners.
Crucially, Marnie, who was 1.2 seconds behind this group, has now not just caught up to them. Look, he's passed the founder of Dantas, and he's brought Green, he's brought Kabanka along for the white. Brewster wasn't managed to stick with that pack. He's 1.6 seconds behind with Murakami, Johnson, and McCain. Johnson looking comfortable for that victory at this stage of the race in Spec 2. I was just looking at the clock right now. We have got right about, well, bulk of the racing to do, about 19 minutes, a little bit of change as Marnie locks up and he releases that plate to Dantas.
Yeah, I think he just came in hotter than Overstreet did and had to just check up, lock the fronts, and had to kind of bail out of it, lost the position. But, you know, we've talked about this all season. These cars, when they get up front, they start battling for position. It just brings all the cars behind them back into that battle. And as long as they keep swapping positions up front, this front pack is going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to become more challenging to make positions up.
Well, on board with your Marnie. And that's why there's that bit of a gap in front of them to Overstreet. He lies in third because Marnie obviously locking up into Druids, allowing Dantas through, just unplug that gap, and Dantas there just dancing the car through Sheen Corner, down into Sterling's. I love Sterling's. The amount of camber that corner's got, you can really just throw the car in and just, once you get to the apex, it sticks there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, you know, this is one of the reasons this is such a great track. It's a challenge for the drivers. It takes a long time. It's one of those tracks that you really have to work to get better at. But once you get into the groove of this track, it's awesome to drive.
There goes Brewster, or was that in fact him going for it, or just trying to defend? In fact, he's trying to defend from Ali Johnson, not content with a lead in Spec 2. He's haranguing Jim Brewster. You're currently second place in Masters, 8th overall right now. Although, actually looking at it, Johnson, he's got Arthur Lorio only just what, Murakami between them. Murakami and the meat in a Spec 2 sandwich right now, and also Murakami in that battle as well for that second place in Masters, and that's him up the inside. Is Johnson going to make it stick around the outside? No, he's not. That's Murakami through, and Johnson could lose another place here because here comes Lorio, and he gets it done. But does he? Because look, here comes Johnson instantly fighting back. And you don't make an overtaking move into here is treacherous. And well, they give each other just enough room as they're still side by side.
Yeah, great battles up and down the field, and you see what happens when those two cars battle. Murakami is kind of checked out a little bit by about a second or so. You know, those cars were all packed together, but the longer these guys go too wide, what you're going to see is those cars behind, and you see it there with McCain and Perry closing that gap up. So now they've got another 4-car pack, and it's not just
a 4-car pack they wanted to be part of. Realistically,
no,
is it?
Absolutely not.
Meanwhile, back up front, these I've been seeing the corner of my left eye, Charles, from the timing tower. West
Green.
And Lynn. Ooh, what has happened to Green?
It's fun coming out of turn 2. I don't know if he got I don't know if there was contact, but he was in that group with Monty, Kabanka, and Brewster. I'm sorry, with Dantas, Monty, and Kabanka. Yeah, go ahead with the replay. And sorry about that. Just talking to everybody. You see here.
So he's on the inside. All looks good. Loses the rear.
Yeah, loses the rear. Just too hot back on the throttle, and the car couldn't cope with it, so you see a major drop. So now he's down in that battle that we were watching earlier.
And then I just spotted in the top right corner of my screen, Charles, Favini a carbon copy almost on. Now, I'm not too sure if he got maybe a little bit of assistance to spin as well, or they didn't come as far down the track as what Green did, but that cat side off another incident further back up through the field.
Another incident, I think, with Mayer and Gould.
Yeah, they've just tumbled, haven't they?
Yep.
Oh, wow, Mayer's gone.
So Simon Mayer with a tow. Yeah, so this group that's up front, they've been kind of swapping positions, but it's been pretty clean. So they've able to stretch that gap out back to Dantas. It's about 2 seconds.
It's looking close as ever between these top three, but as you say, not too much battling, so much so they've pretty much dropped Dantas, Murakami, and Kabanka. 2 seconds the gap. Excuse me, at this stage, we're halfway stage already, Charles. This short of race really catching me out, just how far we are into this, albeit it's only 5 minutes difference from what it is normally, but even so. So something a bit of sit rep at the halfway stage west from Lynn, from Overstreet, that you can see on the screen right now. That's your top three overall in Inspec 1. Masters, Marnie, who is down to 4th, just past Dantas. Brewster, Murakami, 7th and 8th respectively. Spec 2. Arthur Lorio leading, he's 9th. 2nd in class, 10th overall. Alan Johnson, those two still incredibly close to one another. Chris Montgomery, 3rd in class, 14th overall, although about 2 seconds behind that group that does include our top 2 in Spec 2.
Yeah, now that gap that's up front has increased because Monty took that lead of that pack from Dantas. Then apparently maybe got too wide, and both Kabanka and Dantas got by him. So now that gap is 4 seconds. As we see the battle up front, going into turn 1, side by side. So tight there.
Wow. Lynn just almost drifting the car. West desperate to hold on to that inside line, but Lynn carrying the speed, carrying the momentum, and surely carrying himself to the lead of this race. And yes, he has. West, well, could not defend it any longer, but he has another look up the inside here. Can he reclaim it, Charles? I think he might just do this, but Lynn makes contact.
A little tap there, but everybody's still headed the right direction. And now we see Overstreet finding an opportunity and is going to make that move into P2.
Lynn,
or is she?
Wow. Or is she? Backs out of it, trying to keep alive, trying to keep in this top battle for the victory here. First of the vRunoffs in week 13 for Weekend Warriors here on Apex Racing TV. Of course, coming up after this race, we've got Formula 4s and Formula Vs on the track at the same time here from Brands Hatch. Make sure you don't go anywhere for that one whatsoever. Oh, how do you call this one? How?
You wait to the last lap and see who crosses the finish line first, I think is the only way that we're going to figure this out. But no, I mean, obviously these three cars are, you know, as we see them battle, you know, they lose about a half second every time they go side by side, especially when they're down here into 1 and 2. They'll lose a little bit of time, but once they get lined back up again, they're just a class of the field, and they just stretch that gap back out. So, you know, if it was me, I'd say, let's stay in line. We'll wait for the last couple of laps of the race before we do any battling for the final steps on the podium.
Not too much longer. We're just about to enter inside the last 10 minutes, the final third of this race. What's happening further down? Oh, well, Johnson losing a lot of places. Something's happened to him out on track. Also, who else was he involved with? Well, so that now means as well, because as I tried to scramble to think who he was battling against, but that now means Chris Montgomery leads Spec 2 in 13th. Barry up into 2nd in class. And there's Loria, who was leading the class. He's down to 3rd in class and 18th overall. So they've had to come in together. Not surprising in some ways, because they were all over one another like a blanket.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that Josh will work to get us a replay if he can find it. So we'll be seeing something here. Pull this up here, and we got
That is already happened something there, hasn't
Johnson
it?
Off the track, but definitely looked like he had some front end damage.
So he's been off there, I think, a bit of a while as he's trying to find a gear in there, and eventually found one, and off he got going, but doing so lost a whole heap of time.
Yeah, just obviously looked like there was a little bit of damage on the front of his car, but we can't obviously find out if that was from an incident in that particular or from earlier in the race, because there has been some battling basically from the top of the field all the way down to the bottom.
No letter, but would we expect any different?
No, not for the spec racers we see. Lynn with a move to the inside there, just really carried a lot of speed through that section of the track.
Well, they've calmed down a bit up front, haven't they, these top three? That is one thing we can definitely no, but that, as I say, you know, seem to say week in, week out, Charles, always worries me, because when that happens, you know, you're only a moment away from it all kicking off. Cabanca up to the lead of this chasing group. Dantas, I'm a little bit surprised by. He's just fallen away, or maybe he's just trying to consolidate this one and go for a last couple of laps attack, although Marnie he looked commanding for a while. Let's not forget, he sat well behind that top group and hauled everyone up onto them, as here comes Dantas on the inside of Marnie. Oh, and a bit of a bump on the way through, and is he going to make the corner? Yes, just about.
Wow. Yeah, Dantas carried a lot of speed through there and just didn't, just couldn't hold the corner. Got off in the grass, in the sand, and had to recover it. So he's dropped down to the back of this group, but he's still with the group, which is right behind Murakami. I think that car up in front of Monty, I think, is a lap car, if I'm correct. I was trying to find the number, but couldn't really find it. So just Cabanca making a move.
I mean, it's gutting really for Cabanca, because, I mean, if this lot hadn't started battling, then they wouldn't have lost touch with that lead group. I mean, it was helped, though, by the fact that lead group weren't battling at all, really. Even in doing so, they've opened up that gap now to be a strong 4 seconds to this following pack, who I think now just is hitting to the realization that we're not going to catch him. There's not enough time left on the clock. We've got 6 minutes remaining here from race 1.
I don't think there's going to be enough.
A bit longer. Apologies, because I've been looking at the time elapsed, and well, there we go. See from the graphic in the top left, it's a merge. We've got a bit longer here, Charles. Yeah. We should be all right, because of course that would have included the pace lap in the time elapsed, so we're all good. Right, this changes things a bit.
Yeah, so we're running about 10 minutes left in the race, so probably 7-ish laps with Murakami, and who's that? The other one involved, was it Dantas or Brewster? So I think it was Dantas. So yeah, it was just a move on the inside. Murakami looks like there might have been some contact, and spun the car off in two. Let's see here. So we get over the inside curve. That wasn't it. Oh, it looks like Murakami just came and basically tried to hold Dantas in on that inside line. And I don't think Dantas was having much of that.
No, I mean, they're just leaning on each other, and they're practically bouncing off each other on the run-up to Druids. But they get away, well, I would say, Dantas got away with it. Murakami, but it's not just cost him from being with the battle for the lead, because Marnie and Brewster are in that group. Antonio Race got past him, and that now means the Portuguese driver from, well, second place in on the exit of corner 2 to fall into pretty much the back of the pack, certainly at the back end of the midfield. Now looking like there's a chance of a podium. Maybe not a podium overall, like we thought initially, but a podium no less in class. He's now currently 11th overall, 3rd in Masters. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? Well, you should never quite give up in this race. Felix Mouse has made his way from, he literally fell to the back. He's got unpitted and is now up into 19th.
Yeah, he's just cutting his way through the field. And once he's able to get his car right, obviously we could see what kind of speed Mouse had. And I was just kind of looking, I would see a couple of cars going in and taking their fast repairs and coming back out. And we kind of talked about that. Didn't expect to see a lot of that, but you can see how treacherous that pit exit is, because you're basically coming out right on the apex of turn 1. So all the cars that are on the track at full chat have to be very, very careful and be very aware of any of those cars exiting the pits.
So Lynn leads from West and over Street. It's got a bit NASCAR, this, hasn't it, Charles? Or even IndyCar, any form of oval racing. We're just running down the clock now. It's all over Street. Well, maybe she's not quite running down the clock. Maybe pushing that a bit just to ensure she stays in touch with this top 3. Well, certainly including herself, so technically a top 2. But there you go, just visually just losing that bit of time. But in the slipstream, we know with these cars you can catch it up very, very quickly and still remain in the fight as we head over the start-finish line. Now on to what's going to be lap 15 now.
Yeah, it looks like the slipstream is worth about 2/10 on the front. I was going to say front straight. It's not really straight.
No.
But it's straight enough in order for them to get a good tow from the cars in front. But that is keeping her in. I'm not sure that she's got quite the pace as these of Lynn and West, who have just done an amazing job up front. But she's doing a really good job just kind of hanging in there. Obviously, as long as she can stay in that tow, you never can tell the way these guys have battled during the race. We've seen where, she was running 4th and ended up winning a race in the last corner.
It's just gaining. Backs out of it, makes Lynn think about what he's doing, what's happening in his mirrors. It's become more of a race right now for West. Okay, I'm just going to sit here on your bumper. He's kept it constant at 2/10, Charles, for I couldn't tell you how long. That's pretty much what it's just been, a constant 2/10. There's been no let up from West.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping Lynn honest during the race. He's obviously got the pace to match him. And obviously we've seen the way that they've swapped the lead back and forth. So I think, like you said, I think they're at a point now that we're just going to kind of stretch that gap back to that next pack, and we'll get ready to do some real racing here in the last couple of laps.
6.7 seconds is that gap, Charles. Well, yeah. Curse the commentator. In terms of action, anyway, when it's not quite get his nose in there, well, keep it in there anyway, at least. Although he's starting to ask more and more questions, Charles.
Yeah, I think he's looking for that spot to make the pass. At the end of the race, he's just kind of observing Glenn's lines, and as you said, just keeping the car in his mirror to let him know he's still there, and seeing where the opportunity may be to make that move at the end to win this race.
I mean, you're a computer programmer by trade, Charles. For me, it's like he's writing an if statement, not quite knowing what the end result is going to be. If I ask this, if this happens at turn 1, what's the result? What does Yang Qilin do to respond to it? And he seems to be asking it at different parts of the track on each lap to try and work out, what does the Chinese driver do? How will he react to me prodding and probing and asking all of these questions, so he can build all that data up and then make a tactical decision on that final lap as to where he makes his move.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's just kind of saying, okay, if I go here, is he threatened by this move, or is he going to defend, or is he just going to stay in his line? And I think so far Lynn's playing it very cool. He's just really running his racing line. He's not really trying to defend too hard because he knows obviously his racing line is the fastest line around the track. If he goes defensive, obviously that costs some time as well as the other car. And you still got that third car of Overstreet just right there behind, waiting to capitalize on any mistake that's made.
But that's the thing with Overstreet. She's, whenever there has been a mistake made, she's never really been able to capitalise on it so far or follow another driver through. Is that tactical, or is it just, just hasn't quite got the speed? One thing I've noticed is that Lynn's car definitely seems to be twitchier compared to West. I've seen Lynn just, just especially on braking and turning, maybe just lose the rear, a little bit. Seems a bit looser, his car, compared to West. Seems far, far more composed.
Yeah, and that could be any number of things with the setup. It could be just as simple as just a brake bias. If they've got a brake bias adjustment for these cars, then you roll it forward a little bit, and the rear wants to kind of wants to be a little more twitchy, and allows the car to rotate that much better. So that may be just as simple as that as far as the difference.
Well, we haven't got long to find out, have we? Under 3 minutes remaining.
We're going to be 2 laps to go at the line, based on my quick math.
Lovely. Well, well done. I was just gonna try and work that out myself. Thank you for that, Charles. On the point as always. So, what's happening down through the field? Let's have a bit of a look at what we've got here. So, well, that's Antonio Race, who's now inside the top 10. It's a 10. McCain, who we're on board with in front of him. Then it's Dantas, who a little bit display. He's been in the wars a bit, but even so, I think maybe a missed opportunity for Evandro in terms of where he could have been finished. There's Jason Green, who, well, he's done well to recover as well, because remember, he span out and lost a lot of places.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's done a good job to try and make that time up.
So he's back up to 7th. Another driver who potentially could have been with a shout of victory here today. Brewster, and then, right, we've got a big gap between Brewster and Marnie, Marnie battling away with Kabanka for 4th place. Marnie looking strong and capable for that victory in Masters. Brewster 2nd in class race, now 3rd. As Dantas just looking a little bit twitching, a bit nervous there. We then inspect 2. We've got Phil Berry now leading that. Lorio is 2nd. Montgomery, he's lost a lot of places because he's dropped down to 20th. Now 3rd in class. It's like no league category, isn't it?
It really is. It's one of the good things about this racing is we have these bigger grids, but I mean all these drivers are very competitive. And they're very clean, so you don't see a lot of bad moves or retaliation. They'll race hard, they'll race clean, and then at the end of the day, if there's an issue, they'll sort it, and then the next race, as we see the white flag, Barney's got the white flag flying, and they get it sorted out, and they come back for the next race, and it's just same thing all over again. One reason I enjoy this
flag in the air. Time's running out now for West to try and get this one done. Overstreet just seems to be losing a 10th or so. That could take her out of the equation. It's been slim margins all evening, and I don't think it's going to be any less. And I mean, West is realistically, after this, he's got the last turn, and that's it. That's his only major overtaking opportunity. And he's as close as you like. Fevering between a 10th and a half. Lynn just a little bit loose. That allows West to close up, but it might kill off his momentum. He needs to try and get Lynn off that line to just disrupt his momentum, and he isn't able to quite do it. But West is as close as you like again. What have you got, Bobby West? Can you pull this off at the last corner? I'm not sure he's going to be able to as he closes up once more. Can Lynn hold on and hold on to victory here as they come out of the final turn for the last time? It'll be a race to the line, but West can't get underneath Lynn. He's going to hold on to this one. Lynn wins from West and Overstreet. Your top 3 covered by 3 attempts.
Yeah, it's a great result. And yeah, it was great. And in the end of it was Lynn was defensive when he needed to be, kept that inside line, and then obviously nothing for West to do. The outside wasn't going to work there, but it was a great race by, all three of our podium sitters.
That comes very to try going through. He wins Spec 2. Montgomery got up into second in class, and Lorio had more issues. Yingling takes third in class in Spec 2. Your podium in Masters is Marnie Brewster and Antonio Race. Wow. Turn up for the books. I wouldn't say jumping up themselves. Felix Miles recovered all the way back up to 16th after falling right to the back at the start of the race and pitting.
That was a great recovery dive by Felix.
Great stuff from there. Great stuff.
I'm sure he'll be disappointed with 16th, but obviously, after the start of the race, to get back to that position is a great drive.
It is. It's a really, really good strong drive from all of them, realistically. Right, we'll be able to bring you up some classified results. I'm not sure. I think it's everyone across the line. I think so, or maybe you're missing just one or two of them. Let's have a look. There we go. We are all across the line. There we go. Yangji Lin winner by just under a tenth against Bobby West. Overstreet in third. Kabanka fourth with Marnie winner in Masters. Fifth overall. Jim Brewster second in class at 5 spots into sixth. Jason Green seventh. McCain, Dantas, Perry running out your top 10. Race running out the podium in Masters in the 11th. That's Murakami. Berry, your winner in Spec 2, because although McCain denoted as Spec 2 driver, is in fact Spec 1 now. And then we have got Race and Mouse, who you mentioned. Great recovery from him. Cathcart, Favini, Montgomery up to second in class, 18th overall, with 19th being Grant Yingling to secure that podium place in Spec 2 with Arthur Lorio running out your top 20. Then we had Cantor, Warbolt, Love, Jacobson, Vaccaro, Jackson, Wishen up to 27th. Then Alan Johnston had the chance of winning in Spec 2 today. In the end, finishes one lap down in 28th. 29th, we had Martin Nicolaus with Bradshaw running out your top 30. Those two laps down, then into the retirement. Gould, we lost him on lap 10. Lap 10 for Jeff Horniak as well. Simon Mayer on lap 6 with DeGastis, Flores, Tolo, Wilkie and Healy all not making the start. Let's have a quick check to some of our drivers. First off, let's check to second place finisher, Bobby West. I mean, Bobby, it was nip and tuck the whole race long, wasn't it? You led, then Yangji led, and I had us guessing right to the end, and it felt like quite enough left in the car to carry to victory right at the end.
Yeah, it was really good fun with Yanji. I think I was faster than him to begin with. He had some damage at the front, but we had a few bits of contact, and I think it just rubbed my car up a bit too much. I got a bit more of a hit in the rear right, I think it was, and after that I just was a bit slow in the straight line, and I was pushing like mad on that last lap, but I just couldn't get quite close enough to him. I
mean, even so, coming into this, if we said to you, Bobby West, you're going to work away with second place, I'm sure you would have taken that with 2 hands.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is my local track, about an hour away, so it's one I've been to the most, and I always seem to go quite well here as a result. I don't know why. I've never driven around the whole thing, so I don't know why that is, but it was good. I'm happy with second, back on the podium.
Well, congratulations, Bobby West, second place here today overall and in Spec 1. Next up, Charles, Jim Brewster.
Jim Brewster, congratulations, P2 in class, P6 overall. Good race for you. Obviously, you had to do a lot of ducking and diving there at the beginning of the race, but managed to get through everything and get a good result.
Yeah, that first turn, I think when I was 11 to go in the first turn, and I just watched the inside, and then the car that was spinning just spun to the outside enough that I went up the inside. But then I had to do I had to work for it. I was actually ahead of York for like a whole 100 yards, and then I stuck with him a little while, but then he worked he walked away, and so I was me and Chris Murakami, and then I think he got hit. I don't know. He spun up at turn 2. I think maybe he got some help. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was him and Dantas were battling pretty hard, and I think that was what spun Murakami out. But you know, it was a good battle. We saw a lot of packs, a lot of pack racing. You know, everybody just kind of run together. You had the 3 leaders, and then you had a pack with, like I said, you and Jorg and Jason Green and Murakami and Dantas.
Yeah.
And but it was great racing. I'm sure you had a really good seat for the whole thing.
And you know, this is overachieving for me. It's fun to be up here, and I had a couple of the corners down really good, and then a couple other corners where I would lose a little time, but a couple corners I had down pat really well, so I could stay ahead. But it was a fun race, a lot of work, and this V race is going to be crazy. You know, I work a lot with the V's, and we're really going to have some fun. It's going to be the gangs, the V gangs versus the Formula Ford gangs, and so it's going to be tons of fun.
Yeah, we're looking forward to doing to calling the action as well. So congratulations, Jim, P2 and
Thank you very much. Thanks for you guys. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Next up, we've got Megan. Overstreet Megan. I mean, it felt like, you were the big bad wolf. But you got to the House of Bricks between Bobby West and Yang Jilin. You were huffing and puffing, but you couldn't quite blow their house down.
No, I couldn't. It was their pace was just good enough to be a little bit better than mine was, so it was just me trying to stay with them the entire race.
What do you think contributed to that lack of pace to be able to just make that definitive edge and get past them?
Just probably my setup wasn't quite right.
Well, I mean, even so, third place, considering, what happened at turn 2 on lap 1, you made it through. We're seeing it now on replays. Just talk us through that. You arrive and there's a sea of cars, pointing in the wrong direction and all, at 90 degrees.
I was so glad that I started on the outside because that put me in the prime spot to just drive around the entire outside of Druids and hope for the best.
Well, it worked out a treat, and good luck for the Formula Fords and the Vs very, very shortly.
Yep, we're in qualifying right now, so this should be a very wild race with 2 radically different cars on track at the same time. It is going to be utterly insane.
Yeah, it is indeed. We're looking to it very, very much, and we'll see you shortly. And, well, with that mention of qualifying being well underway, we're going to head across now into the Formula Fords and Formula Vs. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this break.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
you will see that if we would go back and watch all the cars, is you know, allowing the faster car to make the pass. And what you saw there was maybe somebody who's not as familiar with multi-class racing, you know, trying to move out of the way, and that almost never works. It's especially when you have a definite speed advantage between one car or the other. You trying to move to facilitate that pass usually ends up tragically. But that time they were able to get away with it and got through, you know, relatively unscathed.
That's the thing, it's all about just, that's half the thing, isn't it? It's just staying alive, isn't it?
Yeah,
As last time around, Overstreet, fastest lap of the race, she's not hanging around, walking away to victory here, and is going to take the white flag when she crosses the line. Just trying to see who she's just come past there, because that's going to split these two. If she can clear the pair of them, then that does mean that they'll both get the white flag lap and still a chance to battle out over position. There we go, one more lap left to go here from Brands Hatch in the 39th running of the Ray Esports vRunoffs. And we've still got battles on our hands, largely this one for the lead in the Vs, and they, well, unbeknown to them, they've still got another lap left in them.
Yeah, they're battling like it's the last lap already, but I think they've been doing that basically since they got back together a couple of laps ago. They've been just nose to tail fighting for that top position on the podium.
Marnie into the pits. Late on. Splash and dash may be required. But he's out there. He's out of the car. He's out of the car, so he's out of the equation. Well, that does mean then it looks like Jeff Cantor's going to win Masters in the Formula Fords.
I wouldn't pick that at the start of the race, but hey, great job, Jeff.
Yeah, gets himself alive, and he's there right at the end.
That's it. Yep,
there's our lead in the V's, taking the white flag. Meanwhile, Overshoot, only a quarter of a lap left to go for her before she takes the checkered and takes victory here of what's been, well, a bit of luck come her way, but equal terms, you've got to be there, you've got to make it happen. There's all someone spinning off there. Through comes Overstreet to take victory here in the vRunoffs. Congratulations to her. McConnell looking good for second. Meanwhile, well, these lot still got another half a lap to go. Well, more than that, nearly about 60% left.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle to the very end. You can't make a mistake if you're in front. So Tolo's back in the lead, and they see Zerbs on the inside. They're going to battle through this corner here.
Zerbs, well, just gets it done, doesn't he, Charles? But as we know, Tolo's got at least one more opportunity. If he doesn't choose to make it too wide, which he's going to choose to do so on the tightest part of the tracks, but it's not enough. Zerbs still leads from Tolo. It's close as you like between these two as they head down in towards Sterling's for the final time. Who's going to get it between these two? Zerbs has got about a quarter-second advantage, but watch Tolo just close up. Eats up that gap. Is he going to pop out? Oh, no, he doesn't. Are we going to have a run to the line? Has he got the power in the car left to do so? Who's going to get the run? Zerbs goes down low to cover it off. And I think with that, Matt Zerbs is going to take victory, but it's going to be so close.
Oh.
But he just does it. I think. Yes, he does. It shows there's a dead heat pretty much within our timing and scoring. So 0.00. It goes to 2 decimal places. We'll try and get some clarification on exactly how that one panned, that exact time difference between the pair of them for you. But
that was so tight. Yeah, it was obviously within 100th of a second. But Zerbs holds off from the inside line. Great finish to that race for the Formula Vs.
It was a beautiful finish. Beautiful finish between the pair of them. Wow. Let's have a bit of a... While we're waiting for the last 2 drivers to come around, we'll have a chat to 1 or 2 of our drivers while we're waiting for them to emerge. First off, let's speak to our victor here today, Megan Overstreet. Congratulations You know, 2 podiums tonight, not bad indeed. But I think many may argue you got a little bit lucky in this one.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know exactly what happened with the leaders going to the final turn there, but that allowed me to catch back up. And then I think the leader that was ahead of me had to pit for fuel, so they pitted off early, and I think they got a speeding penalty. I'm not sure.
Both did have a collide coming through, the final turn, and like you say, that's what allowed you to catch back up to him, and then one retirement, well, both of them retiring in the end. Say that Kabanka came back out again and did make a hard fight, but then had further contact which retired him. So in the end, it just looks very, very comfortable for yourself. 12 seconds nearly the winning margin. Did it feel like that at all?
Oh yeah, every lap I was pushing as hard as I could. Like once I got some clear track after passing the leader of the Formula V's, I was like, you know what? My pace has been pretty good. I wonder if I can get down into 31s. And I really want to get into the 31s. So I kept pushing and pushing and pushing until I got to that 31.99 on like the next to last lap. And then I hit Formula V traffic again. And then from there, I just cruised and took it easy.
Just talk us briefly through that traffic. I mean, this very unique combination. Myself and Charles, we likened it to, with the Formula 4s are coming past the Vs, like prototypes coming past the GT3s. Was it easy to pass them out there? Or, I know the speed difference on the straightaways did help, but just talk about the challenges and what it was like, certainly the first time we're trying to pass through all of the V traffic.
Yeah, the hardest thing was not knowing whether or not some people would go for the racing line or stay wide. I was hoping all the Vs would go for the racing line and I just go around them. That's what I was really wanting, but sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. There were a few times where I had to just slam on my brakes to avoid a collision. Oh, it was fun though. That was my first multi-class race that I've ever done, so I had a blast.
Well, and to walk away with the victory in it, I think that is a pretty good result. Congratulations, Megan Overstreet.
Thank you.
And well, let's have a little look. Let's pick out your second. I'm trying to think where Jim Brewster came third in class in the V's.
Third
Third
or second, I think. Was Alan run Masters? Was Alan Masters or not?
Well, we've got him classified as Masters and Brad Cathcart.
Oh, okay, very good. Hey, well, I had a crash. I ran into the back of a Formula Ford, believe it or not, as you were lapping me, going through one of those fun hill corners. He had a really low apex, and I hit him, and then Steve hit me, and we had to pit. So it was salvation after that. But hey, it was a lot of fun. I think, and I just talked to a few folks, and a few folks I think had fun. So I think maybe we'll do this again.
Oh, that's awesome, Jim. And so I was going to ask, and it's how much multi-class racing do you do?
Almost none anymore. Back in the old
anymore.
days before I did leagues, we used to do the Mustang, series that I think a lot of us do. But no, not too much. Well, in the SCCA group, we do, the Jettas and Toyotas, but that hardly counts. But anyway, this is fun.
yeah.
How did it look on tape? I assume it was a pretty good show.
It was indeed a very good show. You could kind of pick out the ones that had done some multi-class racing, and then some that were not as familiar with it. So how was it from your seat? You have obviously you had a good time.
Yeah, and I didn't have any problems with any. The fast guys coming through were totally clean, and I just stuck to the racing line and and try to communicate. And I was impressed because sometimes the fast guys run people over, but I didn't see any of that. I hope there wasn't too much of that.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it was. I think from what we saw, there were a few incidents where the slower guys tried to move out of the way, which meant they were moving into the way.
Right.
So, but other than that, no, I think it was a fantastic show, and obviously I think the biggest thing we had was these cars are a little difficult to tell apart when you're watching this from
Oh, that's funny.
distance.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a good time. Let me say hi to my sister Tam. down in Buenos Aires. She is you guys' most dependent watcher, and my best fan. So it's nice to get on the TV again. You know how us V's don't get on TV very often, so we got to celebrate.
There you go. All right, congratulations, Tim. Jim,
Thanks.
Sorry. Yep.
It's only one letter away, and it's
Yeah,
just
no,
far better than some things I get called. So I'll take that one. Right, let's have a quick. Here we've got that next. Let's have a chat to. We don't get to speak to this guy very often, Michael McConnell. Today, finished second place, Michael. I mean, well behind Megan, but even so, you well in front of Jason Green, and I mean, it was looking a bit hard fought and a bit fraught with that battle you had late on with Christian Kabanka.
Yeah, this was a really fun race. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Christian. I think he slammed on his brakes a bit too hard behind a V and spun out. So that was kind of convenient for me to get right past in front of him again.
Yeah, it made life a little bit easier for you, definitely, didn't it? I mean, after with the pit stops and such, like, were you not tempted to maybe elect to stop a little bit earlier and try and keep yourself in some clear traffic? I know from what Megan was saying, this is where you were able to make so much more progress was when you had some fresh air in front of you, and there was no one to trip up over.
Yeah, and this race, not really, because I was mostly by myself. Moving forward, after we got past Green and Overstreet kept pulling further and further ahead. It was just the V's that I had to keep worrying about, and I don't think there was any avoiding them really.
Well, no, it's always a bit trickier. I mean, we did see one or two people stop quite early in the attempt to. Hopefully, we won't have to pass through them, try one less time sort of thing. But it was fraught, with danger and excitement and drama, at least from our point of view, up here in the commentary booth throughout the race. But even so, I mean, congratulations, second place. I mean, you've got to be ecstatic with that one, surely.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's unexpected for sure.
Well, I mean, what a way to round out your week, and a nice early Christmas present for you. Congratulations, Michael McConnell, second place here today.
Yeah, thank you.
Charles, we've got one driver left set there. I think we should round it off, shouldn't we? Really,
Yeah.
with Jason Green.
Yeah, absolutely. Final step on the podium, P3, Jason. So we saw you pit a little earlier than we're used to seeing. Was that a reaction to the traffic on the track, or did you have a different maybe fuel strategy involved today?
Yeah, 100%. It was due to the traffic. Unfortunately, because we had made it past maybe half of the V field, so I saw everybody in front. I was like, okay, they're going to get slowed down. So I pitted to try to get an undercut on them. And unfortunately, I waited too long. So as soon as I came out, I had to repass the entire V field again. So that did not work out. So I think I lost time to Michael, and then Christian was able to overcut me. So yeah, that was the plan. Didn't really execute it that well, though.
That happens sometimes. But hey, in the end, still got a good result. And I think a lot of it was maybe just not getting in contact with other cars. So I think that may have played a big part of that as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. There were lots of casualties out there. I was almost won myself a couple of times. I think one time I was a little bit too ambitious trying to overtake two Vs in the same corner, which thankfully we all survived, but it was a close run thing. So sorry to Chris and I'm blanking who the other driver was, but yeah, sorry to that. That was it was Tom Laurie. So sorry to y'all.
Was it how did you find the multi-class part of this? Was it difficult? Did you have a lot of issues with lapping around the V's, or was it for the most part pretty straightforward for you? We've heard different stories from different people.
It was a lot of fun. It wasn't. It was definitely very terrifying. Some of the V's were fine. You could tell some of them hadn't done multi-class before, so yeah, it's kind of every time you had to guess if they were going to hold their line, if they're going to try to get out of the way, if they were going to try to get out of the way and then decide not to get out of the way. So it was very it was very sketchy the whole time. But yeah, I managed to get through it without killing anybody, I think. So
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations, Jason, on a P3 and a good ending to the season.
yep, thanks y'all, appreciate it.
Let's have a little look through some classified results here today from Brands Hatch. Second race of the evening. The Formula Ford, Formula V, multi-class special, and there you see a confirmation. Megan Overstreet, the winner here today. Michael McConnell, second. Jason Green rounding out that podium. Then we've got Jess Jacobson, Bradford Gould, Bobby West, Paul Stevens. He had a great run, didn't he? He was at 14 spots. McCain up 16 as well. Joshua Flores taking that Spec 2 victory. Then we had Tim Staino. Andrew Evans, Phil Berry second in class, Jeff Cantor taking the victory in Masters. That's a solid result for him, with Stephen Healy one lap down but running up that Spec 2 podium. Chris Scriven, Marlene Griven, York Marnie despite nearly, I think it was just on the cusp of retirement, still classified 17th and second in class. Matt Zerbs, winner in your Formula V's over Full Tullow, 19th, and then 20th, and rounding out the Masters, the V's podium, it was Alan Degasius, Montgomery, Laurie, Cathcart, Toms, Brewster, Ray, Love, Grider, take you up to 28th place. 29th, that was Nick Tullow. 30th, we've got Sander von Bruges, Rennie Pike in 31st. 32nd, Ken Paulin, Kabanka into retirements now. We lost him on lap 21. Murakami, lap 16. Carl Burke on lap 13. So was Sondre Mullet. Hans Mollet, we lost on lap 12 with Tim Hendrickson, lap 9. Harris, lap 8. Walker, lap 6. Lap 5 for Simon Mayer. Nicholas Kyle on lap 4. Walbot lap 3, and then lap 2 for Lorio and Antonio Race. Charles, wow, what a race, what a round. Another classic, really, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I do like the multi-class format, and you know, I'm hoping that sticks around. I think Stevie did a great job getting all this put together. And just, you know, a great way to end the season, and we'll get ready to ramp up for week 1 next week.
Definitely, as we kick things off only 1 week's time here on Apex Racing TV. The Formula Fords and the SRFs are back as Super Sunday resumes service here on the channel. But from myself, Tim Cox, Charles Michelle, and Josh Wilkie, thank you very much for joining us. Just going on the channel right now. It's the tail end of, yes it is, of Champion Motorsport IRTS 2024, round 1 from Daytona. Make sure you go and check that out. But from the three of us, thank you very much for joining us, and good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.